Welcome back to episode 52 of the ATD Baseball Podcast. We got a full house today. We are in not the middle of the off season, but we're at the very beginning of the off season. Nothing has really happened. There's been managers getting filled left and right. We had to come up with stuff literally for a half hour what to talk about today. That's how much of no news there is, but or big news. We're getting there. But how are you guys doing today before we get started?
I'm doing good. I enjoy this time of season with rumors are swirling around, so that's fun. You can let your mind wander that apparently Josh Hader prefers the Phillies as one of the two teams you would like. So I love to hear that. Kyle, I
Another
think he's
cancer in the
dreaming up
clubhouse.
Juan Soto trades.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm fully bought in. I'm gonna be the delusional Yankee fan yet again. I'm buying into it. I want it to happen. And these reports, man, they are not helping my case at all because it's fishing me more and more into it. So I mean, I'm with you, Matt. I really enjoy this time of year. You get to wander here and there depending on what your team's gonna do. It's a very fun time. It's you get to sit back and relax and just you know go for the crazy off season, which baseball always has.
That's right.
And out here in Dodger land, we're gonna just create the whole entire Japan World Baseball Classic roster. We're gonna bring in Otani. We're gonna bring in Yamamoto. Maybe we'll trade for you, Darvish, again. We're gonna bring the whole Japan team to play for the Dodgers because any Japan players linked to the Dodgers for very good reasons. So I got dreams of Otani, but hey, Yamamoto, we'll take him too.
I mean, hey, there's a chance. I think personally, there's a better chance he heads to New York, whether that is Kyle's Yankees or the Mets, maybe too. But we got lots of rumors and trade rumors and signing rumors, and I think we should probably start with the managers, though. So, of course, since we last recorded an episode, Ron Washington was hired and named manager of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
God bless him.
Well,
He's gonna need it. Poor guy.
I I feel for him. It's a tough team to manage. Uh, I feel like he's a good guy for the job, though. Honestly, if you were picking out managers who you would have wanted and felt most comfortable running, I'm not gonna say sinking ship, but like a ship that's not sure what direction it's heading in. I think Ron Washington's going to be a good fit for them. My opinion. I'm curious what you guys think, though.
It's a good hire. I like it. Ron Washington's a good dude. Now, obviously I wasn't in the dugout with him when he was in Texas, but he's probably, when he would kick the Angels' ass in the division every year, he's probably laughing at them. What goes around comes around, and now you're the manager of the Angels in the same division. Um, like I said, it's a good hire. Let's see what the roster looks like, which is the first thing that every baseball expert went to after saying Ron Washington was a good dude and the right guy for this job. Just creating a culture in the locker room or in the clubhouse. I think he's going to do that. And like I said, let's see what happens with the Angels this offseason, who they bring in. Let's see what his coaching staff looks like. I know there was rumors that Torrey Hunter was maybe going to join his squad, but that's not happening. I would have loved to see that. See a former guy like that come back in, but I rarely say this, but the Angels got it right with the manager.
Kyle?
Yeah, I'm just gonna piggyback off of what you guys are saying. I think this was an amazing hire. I love Ron Washington. And listen, we dog on the Angels all the time, rightfully so. I mean,
Rightfully so.
they give us
I
the
never
reason.
noticed.
They always give us the reason to do so. But I am fully confident that they made the correct choice for once in their organization. I love this hire. I think he is going to build that culture that Melo was speaking of. I think he's going to create a clubhouse where players are going to want to play for him. They're going to go out there and they're going to, he's going to create a different Angels style of baseball. And I think that is such a beautiful thing for the game of baseball. Hopefully, if Mike Trout stays, him and Washington, they have so much experience together. Um, yeah, I think that would be, I like I said, I think this was an amazing hire for the Angels, and they definitely picked the right man for the job.
As much as we trash on Anthony Rendon, and like we already
Street
said,
clothes.
rightfully so,
Rightfully
he
so.
doesn't play any. He doesn't play any games. Um, he's a very talented player when he is playing, and I think having Ron Washington is going to create a little accountability for this team, which is something that they need. It seems like, and when you look around the diamond, when you look around the
Hey,
diamond for the for the Angels, there is talent on that squad. It's not deniable. That I mean, starts with Mike Trout, but then there are other spots where you're like, I like this. You most of the time you like a healthy Anthony Rendon. He's a good player. You like Zach Neto at shortstop. He had a great year. You like Ohapi behind the plate. When he was healthy, he was a beast.
Oh
Great
yeah.
offensive catcher. You like they called up that rookie they just drafted, Noah Shanuel,
Hmm.
and he was hitting pretty good for a guy who was literally just drafted from college, and they called him up the same year. Never heard of, never done. You like that? Joe Adell out in the outfield. He was a super prospect for the longest time, struggling to figure it out. He figured it out. My former guy Mickey Moniak out
Yep.
there struggled to figure it out for the Phillies, and it seemed like he sort of flipped a switch. Brandon Drury, I missed him when we were naming the top five leaders in home run for the Angels, and there he was. He did pretty good. So there are pieces there, and I think Ron Washington being there to unite them and create some accountability and be an adult in the locker room, or the locker room, in the dugout, I think will be huge for this team. Not saying Phil Nevin wasn't an adult, but I think having such um, an experienced baseball mind like Ron Washington, somebody that everybody can get behind and respect, I think is huge for the Angels.
you mentioned the young guys too that you really like. On the pitching side, I really like Reed Detmers.
Hmm.
He's really good too. I think the Angels, they got a guy in there too, with him. So, like you said, the pieces are there. It's just now, hopefully, bring the manager to bring it all together.
Exactly. So I think we all can agree that it was a good signing. They made the right choice. And besides the Brewers getting Craig Counsell, it might have been the best hiring, I'd say. Even Craig Counsell, some people aren't a fan of that. I've seen. But another guy who was hired, Joe Espada for the Astros, and I'll be the first to admit, don't know too much about him. He's been a bench coach for the Astros in that organization for a decent while now, and to be honest, I don't know much about bench coaches in general because if you hear about them, they either did something really, really, really good, or if you hear about them, they probably did something really, really bad or stupid. So, for the most part, you don't hear about him too much. I know he was a guy whose name was thrown out there the last couple years for getting some interviews for jobs. He didn't obviously get it till now, but I gotta say, I like that one too. You're hiring a guy who's been there, been with these guys, and he knows all of them. I'm sure he has their respect as he's been around them long enough. It's not just bringing in some new guy. I, as much as I know about him, I like that move.
And it's being comfortable with the guy you're bringing in. And he was on Dusty's staff for a couple seasons, so it's like I think everybody in that organization kind of knew, like, all right, when Dusty's done, this guy's gonna take over more than likely, unless there's some crazy manager you can go get in the open market. But so just being comfortable, I'm sure Altuve, Bregman, all those guys are like, yeah, he was part of our staff too for this run, and we feel confident that he's gonna pick up the pieces and continue with business as usual.
Yeah, I did some research on this guy just a little bit ago. He learned under, he was with the staff on with Alex Cora, with AJ Hinch, with obviously Baker. I think I don't want to say that there's pressure on him, but I feel like there is a little bit. I mean, listen, you learned under these guys, you've been around these guys, you know their style of play. You kind of, I mean, you've been around this team for how long now? So, I mean, the Astros are in the middle of their quote unquote dynasty, so you got to keep that going. So I don't want to say that there's pressure on him, but like, there's he can't go in there and just absolutely trash the place, no pun intended. But
Hey,
Look at
so
us.
damn.
so yeah, I mean, I overall I like this hire. I like the route that they took with hiring within versus going with one of these guys whose names were floating around. I know Phil Nevin's in the case for the Padres coaching job right now. So I like that they stayed within the organization for sure.
You mentioned the Padres. They're the last team without a manager here, and it was, well, Brewers. Brewers still don't have one, do they? I don't think
They hired
They
their
just announced it last night.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yes.
apologize then. Yeah, so the Padres are the last team then without a manager, and it was previously thought that this week they would name it. Of course, some things are up in the air there. We don't know with terrible news there. Owner Peter Seidler somewhat unexpectedly passed away today. So just terrible news there. Players, I saw Yu Darvish was paying his respects, laying some flowers there at the gate of Petco Park. So again, we don't know what that looks like in terms of if they're gonna continue that process, if they're putting that on hold temporarily, just with the whole grieving process. Don't know how that affects them in their search, and even there's a lot of other things going on with the Padres right now. I mean, we talked about the money they had had to take out a loan to be able to pay their guys. They have a lot of rumors swirling about trading Juan Soto. There's thoughts about do they want to bring back Blake Snell and Josh Hader here. So, of course, got to understand going through a tough time right now with your owner, your leader, in a way, passing away. So terrible there. But to move on to the baseball side, because we want to keep it baseball here. Juan Soto, Kyle's still holding out hope. I mentioned it earlier, and Melo's ready to help him move out to the East Coast. I think Melo,
Yes,
you would volunteer to drive the U-Haul truck, right?
absolutely. I will drive it across the country to get to the Bronx and be a Yankee.
Kyle, you feeling more confident or about the same?
I'm feeling confident. If you're asking me right here, right now, my prediction, I say he does get traded to the Yankees. Now,
Oh,
I think I would rather see Melo drive a U-Haul truck than Soto get traded to the Yankees. But no, in all seriousness, though, I think obviously there was a little bit more that came out today. So, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe it was Passan who tweeted it. That the Padres are going to be looking for pitching prospects. I mean, you have Snell on his way out, and the rest of this rotation, I mean, Walker's on his way out. I'm not saying Walker was, that great, but at the same time, he was decent for them. He provided an arm that they didn't have before, and they got more out of him than what they expected. And with their money problem, they're not going to be able to retain Snell. So they're going to be looking for these younger guys who can come up with team control, guys who can actually pitch at the major league level. And out of all the teams that are interested in Soto, I feel the Yankees have the best amount of arms that are MLB ready. I mean, listen, Rodon's contract was shitty, and it's not looking good for the Yankees right now. But it created a placeholder in that rotation. So now, When you get Nestor back, they're in on Yamamoto. I mean, I feel like they're going to bring in another pitcher. I mean, there was reports today that they were in on Aaron Nola as well. If they bring in one of those guys, that at least moves Clark Schmidt and Michael King out of the rotation. These two guys have pitched at the major league level for the last 2 or 3 seasons. You build a package around them, and then you give us we give them our top pitching prospect. We have Will Warren. We have Drew Thorpe, who just won minor league pitcher of the year. Hampton is another one. Like, we have the serviceable guys to give San Diego, and we all know the Mariners' surplus of pitching prospects, but they already said that they don't want to give them up. I mean, they're building a future over there in Seattle, and I don't blame them for wanting to not give them up. Chicago, I can't say I'm an expert on their farm system, but I really don't think their arms are all that great. So, favorably, the Yankees are looking like the front runners for Juan Soto. So yeah, I mean, I am confident, and I feel like all these signs, dude, I feel terrible for the Padres as an organization. I mean, we just touched on it. Their owner just passed away unexpectedly. They have all these money problems. They have all these free agents coming off the books, and on top of all that, they got 3 guys out there who are tied down for the long term. So, where are you getting the money to extend Soto, especially the amount of money that he's going to command? So that's why, all in all, I feel very confident I feel confident, not very confident, that the Yankees are the front runners for Juan Soto.
You do know that if you trade for him, you're more than likely going to have to pay him, right?
Oh, 100, and I want them to. I think
Okay.
Soto needs to be that 1B to Aaron Judge. That's exactly what this team is missing. Left-handed hitter, power hitter, at Yankee Stadium, draws a lot of walks. Dude, you plug him right in, either in front or behind Aaron Judge, and you got security there. That's what the Yankees have been lacking. I'm sorry, but when you have Anthony Rizzo hitting behind Aaron Judge, I'm shocked that he hit 62 home runs just 2 years ago. That's, I mean, I don't know, but yeah.
Not to mention that Soto plays with a lot of energy and excitement, and he'll
That's
get that
not-
Yankee crowd fired up, and
Yeah.
probably
That's-
won't be too long till he's fighting the Red Sox or something.
Hey, and that's all this Yankee fan base wants. They want a player who goes out there and plays with passion and hates the Boston Red Sox. And we're missing that. We don't have that right now.
I think it's an interesting proposition. I mean, we all said, will the Padres trade him at the trade deadline of this past season? Obviously, they didn't, but his value would have been more increased for a team that was looking to make a push down the stretch in the final 2 months. It would have been invaluable to have Juan Soto in addition to having him for this coming year. They chose not to do that, and now they only have this season left of him. And they didn't make the playoffs with him anyway, so it's sort of like a lose-lose situation right there. They seemingly do not have the money to pay him, and all signs point to him being traded. I mean, they were not They weren't contenders last year. About halfway through the season, it was like, they're about a 500 or below team. Pretenders, exactly. So you have all these other guys locked up, like you said. You got to try and get some youth back into that pitching rotation. When you traded for Juan Soto, you gave up Mackenzie Gore, your star in that farm system of yours, and you were looking for him to be a key piece in your rotation moving forward. And now he's that key piece for the Nationals. So you got to try and recoup that. And not on the free agent side, because like I just said, you don't have a lot of money, it seems like. You spend it all. So, got to go out, and I think getting starting pitching exactly is what they're going to be looking for.
Yep.
And that other money, you got to worry about just making sure you keep the lights on in that ballpark. Number 2, get him, if you're the Yankees, get him now while you can. Look at how excited Kyle is right now. He's salivating over the fact that Juan Soto might be in pinstripes in April. you can argue that his value is so high right now with the Yankees. And I'm not saying this to screw the Yankees or anything, but why don't you get the Yankees while they're a little desperate right now?
Yeah.
Maybe you can squeeze out an extra pitcher or position player. I don't want that. I know that kind of shitty the way business works, but
Hmm.
happens all the time. But get on the phone with the Yankees, not tomorrow, like in a couple weeks or something. But get the Yankees while you have their attention. And
Yep.
maybe if you're the Padres, you can squeeze out a couple more prospects that you desperately need in your farm system.
Get
Okay.
Brian
So
Cashman back
go
in the good graces of the fan base.
So this is where this is my last thought of this, and then we can move on. So the Yankees and Padres are both in situations where this needs to happen for them, right? So the Yankees are desperate specifically because of Brian Cashman and in the year that the Yankees just had. They missed the playoffs for the first time in almost 30 years. I'm sorry, losing close to a losing record in the last 30 years. They are now kind of pushed up against the wall with the fan base. This fan base is pissed off. And the one way to get him back, guess what? Trade for Juan Soto. And do it while the Padres are desperate. They have no advantage in this trade market at all with Juan Soto. Every team knows what's going on with their money issues. And they know that they can't afford to extend Soto. So therefore, you do it now while you can. That's where the Yankees come into play. Now for the Padres, listen, I understand it sucks trading Soto. It really does. But at the same time, you're trading a player who you can get a decent amount of prospects with, and I understand you don't have the advantage. I get that. But the Yankees are a team that is also desperate. And just like Melo said, you can squeeze out an extra prospect or two, whatever you need. Honestly, and the Yankees pitching depth, they have it. They really do. I mean, they got studs up there in Scranton, dude. They really do. I watched them play. And maybe it's the Yankee bias, whatever it is. But Clark Schmidt has proved that he can pitch at an MLB level. So is Michael King. Michael King's our best reliever. Listen, I will stand on the hill that Clark Schmidt is an MLB starter. I'm sorry, I will. Anyway, their prospects, I mean, they're more pitcher loaded than they are anything else. This is the team that you should trade Soto to if you want the prospects back that you are looking for. And that's where, I mean, this is a win-win situation for both clubs.
And don't do what the Angels did. When you had an opportunity to get a whole bunch of prospects back and you went for it and you got nothing in return. Don't do that.
Yep.
Just if you're not gonna, if you know you can't afford to sign them to a long term deal, then why are you gonna keep them around anyways?
Yeah,
Let's get to the
already
Bronx.
already lost a little bit of value, like I said, when you didn't trade him at the trade deadline last season. But
Yep.
all right, moving on. I think we're gonna jump to the free agency side a little bit because interesting. Kyle brought it up a little bit. The Yankees linked to Aaron Nola, possibly, but then again, it's really early. Lots of teams are linked to, aka interested in, would love to have a conversation with Aaron Nola and his agent. Linked to is a very broad term. It doesn't necessarily mean anything, but there are definitely teams interested in his services. Phillies would love to have him back, Aaron Nola. See, yeah, we're all fighting for Aaron Nola right now. And Melo wants him to come to L.A.
Listen, I just want a guy who can pitch 7 innings and give up less than 5 runs. That's all I want.
You'll get that about 9 out of 10 times with Nola. You have a blow-up start every once in a while.
That's fine. If he can do it every other 9 times, I'll take it.
All three of our teams sort of competing for Nola. You can even throw the Braves in there. They were definitely mentioned as a team that would like to sign him. My initial reaction, and we've been steadily putting out our free agency predictions via graphics about every 3 days. We're at part 4 now, I think we do 5 proposed, so about 20 free agents in. We still got a couple notable ones left, and Nola is one of them. My thoughts for Nola is that of course, every team is gonna want a starting pitcher, such a great quality starting pitcher, ace, borderline ace, whatever you want to say. I forgot to mention Cardinals too are interested in him. Um, my thing with Nola, there are some times where money can overcome your preferred destination, definitely. But I think there are some cases where if you have a choice and the price isn't that different, you're going to choose what you think suits you best. Nola is a Southern boy, a country guy, went to LSU in college. Um, really does not surprise me that the Braves are a name that's interested. Braves are a team that's linked to him. The Cardinals, too. I get St. Louis and Atlanta. They're both big cities, but still more country vibes than Philly, New York, and LA. And that's the only reason I lean slightly to him not coming back to the Phillies and not going to one of either of your teams, the two big teams, just because I think if the money's relatively close, he's not a city guy. He's not gonna choose to go into one of the big markets. But I don't know.
That would be. I know Matt would not like that at all. Going to a division rival like that, where you've already, for what, the last 2 years, you've lost a division by what, 20 games? But it doesn't mean anything because you beat them both years. But you're going to be down a starter now, and he's on the other side.
Yeah,
I can't even imagine that. I'm not saying it's not possible, but I can't see Nola in a Braves uniform. I just can't. I can see him in all three of our teams' uniforms, obviously, but it does make sense for the Braves to at least be interested in giving his agent a heads up, like, hey, we hear he's a Southern kid, and we know where he went to college, and we know the type of guy he is. Why not us? Give us a call back, but that'd be very interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, in Matt, you had mentioned that we've been doing the free agent prediction graphics, and I had said that Blake Snell is going to the Phillies. I had said that because I really don't think Aaron Nola is coming back. All the
Ouch.
signs, all the signs have been pointing to that. You know, I mean, there was a report the other day that both these the Phillies and Nola and his agent, they're on different ends of the spectrum when it comes to a contract.
yeah.
And as much as I would love him in New York, I don't see it happening. I really don't. Kind of like what you said, Matt. I don't think. I mean, Philadelphia is a hard place to play. It is. The fans are there, and New York is the same exact way. And I'm sure LA is the same way as well. So my thoughts are aiming towards St. Louis or Atlanta. And to be honest with you, Matt, as much as I hate to say this, I think he is going to Atlanta. It's I don't know. I mean, you kind of hit all the points of what I'm backing up my statement with. He's an LSU guy. He's a Southerner. I mean, it screams Braves. It really does. And Nola in Atlanta. I mean, it's scary to think about it. It really is. But
Yeah.
that's what I think is happening. And I said it from the jump. I really don't think Nola's coming back. So yeah, I think he ends up in Atlanta.
If I can make my pitch to Aaron Nola to come to the Dodgers, I know you are a Southern boy, and I'm fine with that. I completely get it. We got places like that out here. I can take you to Barstow. I can take you to Fontana. I can take you to Victorville. I can take you to Apple Valley. You want to stay out there in a nice, beautiful house or a ranch? You let me know, and I'll fly you. I'll fly you on a helicopter to and from to your games.
Oh, I didn't know
Yes,
Melo was a pilot.
yes.
Fair
I'll
enough.
learn to fly a helicopter.
Well,
Melo's
you know what?
known talents now. Pilot,
Yes,
trucker, cross country trucker,
you
valet driver.
U-Haul expert.
Valet driver or chauffeur remind you that he did volunteer to drive Max Muncy personally to the airport to get Arenado
In an
at the trade
Arenado.
deadline.
Yes,
Yes.
I still stand
So,
by that.
Melo's known talents right now. If you need to hit him up, pilot, cross country truck driver, and also a valet, a chauffeur at this point.
I mean, when I came to the East Coast, who do you think was flying that plane? Come on, guys.
That's right.
Who do you think was flying that plane?
ATD Airlines.
Yes,
Yeah.
with my face on the side of the airplane.
Well, you know what? Real quick, since Melo was able to make his pitch, why not I give it a shot?
Go
Listen,
for it.
New York is a very iffy place, and I understand if you don't want to play here. I get it. The fan base can be a little
All
toxic
right,
at
terrible
times.
pitch. You lost him
I
already.
get it. Listen, but wait, just wait. That is a very small portion of New York State. You go upstate in New York, you got all the state parks. You got Niagara Falls. That's beautiful over there, right? Come on. Uh, Canada's right there, so when you want to go up there and you know talk to the moose, whatever it is, hey, it's right there. That's all I'm saying. New York City is a very small part of New York State, so just out Cooperstown. There you go. You can go right
Yes.
over there because Aaron Nola's career with a Yankee will end up in Cooperstown. So there you go. You
Oh,
gotta,
wow.
yeah,
Wow.
I
yeah.
mean,
That's it.
if we're just giving pitches here, allow me my pitch. Aaron Nola, we gave you all the opportunities. We are the reason that you right now are being considered for somewhere between 150, 130, upwards of 170, 200 million at the most contracts. We drafted you. We brought you up through our organization. We gave you like 10, not 10. We gave you a lot of opening day starts in a row. We believed in you. Philly believed in you. We gave you the game one starts in the postseason last year, the whole way through the World Series, even though the guy that we signed in Zach Wheeler was outperforming you. That's how much we believe in you,
Yes.
Aaron Nola. You are our guy. You don't see a lot of homegrown talent make it the whole way up to the big leagues and thrive with them. It took you a little bit, but you're thriving with us right now. Don't leave Philly. You know you love the fans too. Stay in Philly, Aaron.
There you go.
And he promises their offense won't disappear like that ever again.
Yeah. If you can say, "Hey, we're signing you up for 6 runs every start," I think he'd probably want to come back to Philly, but I don't know. Now we all gave our pitches, but
Matt will give you front row tickets to the Eagle game.
we. I think with his contract he's signing, I think it could be the opposite. He could
He'll
front
be
me
taking
some.
you.
Yes, I think so. Um, a couple names floated around in trade rumors as well. Jumping back to the trade side, a couple starting pitchers. Tyler Glasnow, of course, nearing. He's got 1 year left on his contract, I believe, and we all know the history of the Tampa Bay Rays. They're not a team that's willing to spend money for the most part. We saw the rare occasion they did when they extended Wander Franco. Of course, we all know how that situation where it's at right now.
Not
Melo,
gonna say it.
don't make the joke. Yep, there
Not
you
gonna
go.
do it. No,
Um,
I have
not in a
limits
good.
too.
That's right. Not in a good spot. And does that deter them a little bit here? I don't know. It's a one-off. It's a very strange situation, but just as a team, not overly willing usually to spend money. Sort of seems like they're going to be trading Tyler Glass now, getting whatever they can for him this offseason. So him, Shane Bieber, same sort of situation here. Cleveland doesn't pay a lot of people very much. Sort of a cheaper franchise, and rumors were floating about him for the last couple years, it seems like. And during the trade deadline, before the trade deadline last year, he got a little injury that may have been what caused him the final nail for him to not get traded at the trade deadline. But two quality starters that could be dealt. So I'm curious to see if you guys, Kyle, you think either, both, none of them get dealt?
Um, my hope for the Rays is that they keep Glass now. Just because I mean, the Rays need to spend. That's what it comes down to. They need to spend on the guys that they have. And my hope is that their luck just runs out sooner or later of what the hell they're doing down there. Still don't get it. Um, but I want them for the franchise to keep Glasnow. Glasnow loves it in Tampa. He's said it on multiple podcasts. I mean, I think he embodies the whole like Ray thing. I think he's perfect for that club. But knowing the Rays, he is going to get dealt. I don't have a specific team in mind of where that he could get dealt to. Bieber, on the other hand, I think this is the year that he finally does get dealt after all these rumors. My first thought is this has like the Dodgers written all over it. I really do. Bieber is a very damn good pitcher when he's on. So yeah, I mean, if I had to throw out a guess, I would say the Dodgers. Um, but yeah, that's kind of like, I mean, that's just my thought. I really hope that the Rays keep Glass now, though.
I'm right there with you, and if I had to throw out a team out there, I know they probably wouldn't do it because it's in division. I would love to see Baltimore go get Glasnow. Could be your
Yeah,
ace
true.
of that rotation. I mean, he's gonna be the front starter, and I think the Baltimore Orioles would feel a lot better about going out there with Tyler Glasnow in a game one of a postseason series. Um, Shane Bieber, yeah, it seems like we've been linked to him for a couple of seasons now, and I guess we've never really kicked the tires on it. I'm sure we have, but I know the Guardians probably want a couple pieces, but I'm definitely open to it. Cy Young Award winners, when he's on, he's one of the top 5 best pitchers in the sport, arguably. And like I said, I'm gonna keep harping on this all off season. The Dodgers need starting pitching, and I need guys that can go deep into ball games, and that could be Shane Bieber. I would personally love that.
Yeah, I think Bieber could be a fit, or the Orioles could be a fit for Bieber. Of course, you take away the in division tag, put a slightly smaller in the same league tag, which some teams believe in, some teams don't. And for the right price, I think anybody can sort of look the other way on that. With a whole wealth of prospects for the Orioles, they should be in the market for possibly trading for a starting pitcher. And this is a good segue. Corbin Burns and the whole possibly Brewers, everyone there, the whole franchise there is available. Yeah, Melo wants him too. We get it, Melo. You want all the good starting pitchers. Um,
Yes, I want everybody.
via trade or signing, he doesn't care. He'll take them all. But
He doesn't want to be
Brewers,
there anyways.
that is true. I can get behind that. He does not want to be there. That's one of the top 5 most toxic relationships between management and player at this point, I would say.
Let me ask you this, Corbin Burns. Do you want to stay in Milwaukee and continue to have the stuff that you put on the hot dogs? What is that called again? The
Sauerkraut.
But yeah,
sauerkraut, yes. Or would you want some delicious mayonnaise on your hot dog instead out here in LA?
Oh,
Wouldn't you want to do that? Wouldn't you rather not have that instead
I'm
than
taking Milwaukee
sauerkrauts
all
out
the
there in
way.
Milwaukee?
Taking
Just saying. We could start right there, Corbin.
what if
He
one of
can be
his
the ace for this team. He
right,
can be.
what if one of Corbin Burns' requirements is that you have to install a slide in the outfield similar to the Bernie the Brewer slide?
We don't do that crap here in LA.
Okay, well,
We're
he
a
doesn't want to come
button
to
up,
LA
high
then.
class organization. Okay,
Mm.
I'll go get Aaron Nola. I'll go get Shane Bieber. I got other options. I have this, and I have a bunch of prospects. Which one do you want?
Well, I don't think he cares about the prospects, but he definitely wants that
No.
money, that's for sure.
Yes.
So, but the Brewers, like I said, sort of they lose Craig Counsell. We sort of already knew that Corbin Burns could be going out the door, and it may be looking to rebuild this year now. The disappointing postseason exit once again. They really have nothing to show other than a trip to the NLCS for their little run that they're on, and even this run that they're on. Yep. Dodgers took care of them. Even the run that they're on is not really. It's not really dominance. It's just the NL Central's not too great. I mean, there's years where you're battling with the Cardinals mixed in there, but overall, it never really clicked for them. This whole Christian Yelich era has kind of been a disappointment.
And everybody in that division's getting better too.
Definitely.
The Cubs getting, Craig Counsell. You got to figure that they're gonna go all in on some guys this off season. Look at what the Reds were doing. They were a scary team for a couple of months there. They're gonna get better in the off season. Pirates, yes, I know they're on the way up. It could be a lot worse. They're not where they once were, like 2 years ago, where they had no blueprint. Now you can see it. So, and then the Cardinals. I know we said this about the White Sox last year, but they can't be that bad again, right? They can't be that bad again. But everybody's running past you, and you're still stuck at where you are. And a couple years ago, it was flip. You were the one running circles on everybody in the division, and everybody else is caught up to them.
Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, you guys both got it there. I do think Burns ends up getting traded. Yet again, Dodgers. I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I've heard the Phillies mentioned with Corbin Burns. Who knows? I mean, look, I think this Philly squad, if they lose Nola, they're gonna re-sign Wheeler. That's obviously a given once his contract's up. They're gonna need that number two. Whether that be on the trade market with a Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff, Freddie Peralta, who knows? Maybe they're in on Glasnow or Bieber, But at the same time, on the free agency side, you got Snell, you got Monty, you got all these other guys. So I wouldn't be shocked if the Phillies kick the tires on a Corbin Burns trade or one of those three guys that they got up there. I just I don't understand the fall from grace for this Brewers team. Like, dude, 2 3 years ago, I thought this team was going to be one of the super teams. Once Yelly was doing his thing, all you had to do was bring a few more pieces in. You had the pitching staff. Look at those big three that they're looking on trading. I mean, and then you throw a 4 or 5 in there. Who cares who it is? As long as they're serviceable, that's all that matters. And then just build a few pieces around Yelly, your MVP winner. That's I don't get it. I really don't. But yeah, Melo, you hit it right there too. This division's getting better. The only one who's kind of up for grabs is the Pirates, but even then, like you said, they have a blueprint now. So yeah, it seems like Council did a little bit more than just hurt their feelings up there.
Yeah,
And
it
you
might have
were
been.
and you were able to run out. Sorry, Matt. You were able to run out Devin Williams and Josh Hader for your eighth and ninth inning guys.
Exactly. Yeah.
You had it made.
Yeah, Craig Counsell might have been leaving, might have been one of the first steps in sort of
Smart
tearing this
guy.
whole thing down. Eh, that's what the Cubs said when they paid him $40 million. So they must have thought he was pretty smart. Yeah, I think that's gonna do it here for this episode. I don't think there's anything else we want to hit. Got a lot of good rumors and trade rumors, free agency rumors mixed in there with some good manager talk too. So thank you guys for listening, watching, and hopefully we'll have some real news to talk about soon. Maybe a big announcement coming out too soon. So we'll keep you guys in the loop for that, and we'll see you again next week, unless there's any giant free agency signings or trades that would happen would require an emergency episode. No, the Brewers and Phillies swapping minor leaguers does not count. I got real excited for nothing today. So
So did I.
yes, so we'll see you again next week, and yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in. See ya.
Later.
Adios.